Welcome back to ShadowMind Studies. Be sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more thought-provoking content. Have you ever wondered why people do the things they do? Let's delve into the intriguing world of psychology and human behavior. Here are 25 fascinating facts you might not know. 1. People often ignore information that contradicts their beliefs. This phenomenon is known as confirmation bias. It's why we often only hear what we want to hear. 2. You know that song you can't get out of your head? That's the mere exposure effect at work. It explains why we tend to grow fond of things we encounter repeatedly. It's why we end up loving songs that get played on repeat. 3. A psychological phenomenon called the halo effect can cause one trait to overshadow other traits, influencing our overall impression of a person. 4. Individuals can experience phantom vibration syndrome, an impression where you perceive your phone is buzzing but it's not. This phenomenon is associated with intense levels of phone use. This modern sensation has been tied to our reliance on technology. It's a false perception that can trigger anxiety and distraction. Hence, the next occasion you believe your phone is vibrating, it might be just your brain playing mind games. 5. The placebo effect shows how our brain can convince the body a fake treatment is real. This happens because our mind anticipates the effect of the treatment. 6. Cognitive dissonance is the discomfort we feel when our actions contradict our beliefs. It often leads us to change our views to align with our actions. 7. People tend to remember uncompleted or interrupted tasks better than completed ones. This is known as the Zeigarnik Effect. 8. People are more likely to return a lost wallet if there's a picture inside. This is because seeing a face can trigger empathy. 10. People are more likely to believe a statement if it rhymes, a phenomenon known as the rhyme is reason effect. Moving on to the 11th fact, Dunning-Kruger effect is a cognitive bias where people with low ability at a task overestimate their ability. 12. People who recall a past event often remember the last version they remembered, not the original event. This is known as misinformation effect. 13. People are more likely to underestimate the time they need to complete a task, known as the planning fallacy. 14. The IKEA effect is a cognitive bias, where people place a disproportionately high value on products they partially created. 15. Impostor syndrome is a psychological pattern where an individual doubts their accomplishments and has a persistent fear of being exposed as a fraud. Moving on to 16, groupthink. This is a fascinating psychological phenomenon where people in a group may make decisions that aren't necessarily in their best interest due to the pressure for conformity. It's as if the desire for harmony or conformity in the group results in an irrational or dysfunctional decision-making outcome. For instance, a team in a corporate environment might agree to a project that they all internally doubt, but no one wants to be the one to voice their concerns. Groupthink can significantly impact decision-making processes and dynamics within a group, potentially leading to poor decisions and negative outcomes. So, it's critical to create spaces where differing opinions can be openly discussed and considered. 16. Fundamental attribution error is when people overemphasize personality-based explanations for behaviors observed in others while underemphasizing situational explanations. 17. People often overestimate how noticeable their nervousness is to others, a phenomenon known as the illusion of transparency. 18. People's decision-making can be influenced by the way choices are presented, known as framing. 19. People tend to prefer more immediate payoffs over later ones, a tendency called hyperbolic discounting. 20. The backfire effect is when someone's belief becomes stronger when faced with contradictory evidence. 21. Self-serving bias is the tendency to credit success to personal qualities but blame external factors for failures. Imagine this, you're at a lively party and the last person you met made quite an impression on you. Their name, their charisma, everything. This is exactly what is referred to as the recency effect. Think of it as your brain's very own magic trick, prioritizing and recalling the most recent information with the utmost clarity. 23. Just world hypothesis is the belief that people get what they deserve in life. This belief often leads to attributions of blame to victims, creating an absence of empathy for those in difficulty. It's a way for people to make sense of the world, but it can also lead to harmful assumptions and stereotypes. 24. In-group bias refers to the inclination to prefer members of our own community over those not part of it. This bias can take different forms, ranging from preference in recruitment choices to bias and discrimination. It forms a basic part of human behavior. However, it's also something we can make conscious efforts to overcome in order to encourage impartiality and equality. And in conclusion, the 25th point, gambler's fallacy, underscores the notion that previous occurrences influence the likelihood of future events. This fallacy can precipitate unwise decisions in a range of scenarios, from wagering games to investment strategies. It's crucial to bear in mind that every incident is discrete, and previous results have no bearing on upcoming ones. In conclusion, these 25 facts demonstrate the myriad ways our minds can dictate our perceptions, convictions, and behaviors. From the halo effect that has the potential to tint our views of others, to the gambler's fallacy that can steer us towards making unwise judgments, to the phantom vibration syndrome that exemplifies how our use of technology can impact our physical sensations. These psychological phenomena sculpt our daily experiences in significant ways.